Alright, so we got this Webley all glass bead blasted now. We blasted it with 320 grit glass beads. That's about as fine as I can buy. And we just blasted at a low pressure so we don't beat the metal up too bad. No real big surprises on this thing. There is pitting everywhere that I thought there was going to be, where all that freckling was in the finish. I don't know if I can get this to cooperate a little bit. I wanted to show you some of the pitting on these pieces, but my camera might be a little bit uncooperative. Let me see if I can move over here, and maybe then we can have a little bit better look. See if I can get a good focus on this camera. There we go. There we go. That's better. So now you can see a bit. You can see some of the damage, chips and things along the edge, and a bit of pitting. You can see the pitting in there. Pitting down in there. That wasn't so obvious before we bead blasted it, so you can see how important bead blasting is. You can see how it's difficult to even give a price on restoration or refinishing until it gets bead blasted, because I mean, we didn't see that before we bead blasted it. We didn't see those pits that deep like that. So you absolutely have to bead blast it to uncover all the sins. There's no two ways about it. So we'll have a little bit of time there on that piece. Not a biggie. And we got this the trigger guard itself, and it's got some issues as well. I'm losing my focus again. One sec. This thing is very, very picky. All right. So we've got some nice inspector's marks right there. The crown, and not sure if that's, there we go, 57 maybe. But we got lots of little dings and marks along all the edges, and so that'll all have to be addressed. Having a hell of a time keeping focus on this thing. I wanted to show you some of the pitting right there. There, okay. Now you can see it a bit. So, and once again, that wasn't there before we bead blasted it. So, but that's all fixable. Lots of little dings and dents along the edges. But let me take care of that. Not a problem. What else we got here? We got the cylinder. Yeah, the cylinder is going to be interesting. We talked about the direction that the graining goes in. Now the cylinder doesn't have too much for, surprises. A little bit of, you can see it in there, a little bit of pitting, but nothing too severe. Let me turn this around. Maybe we can see that crown symbol a little bit better. Yeah. So if I turn it slowly, you can see little bits of damage and bits of pitting in there. Certainly enough symbols. So we'll go in and we'll fix all that. Look how many symbols there are in that. There's some pitting in there. Okay, see that? I didn't notice that before. But that's alright, we'll take care of that. That's what keeps us busy. You guys are seeing now that some of this pitting can be fixed, so that's really keeping us busy. We got so many jobs here, hard to keep track of them all sometimes. What else we got? This piece here, yeah, it's not bad. There's no real issues with it. We'll just regrain it. I mean, there might be a couple tiny little dings that we'll fix. We had a little bit around that pinhole there. A couple little marks that we'll clean up. The usual routine. And then we've got the frame. Now the frame, I'm going to try and get this camera up a little bit higher. The frame does have a fair amount of pitting, and I'm hoping that we can see that. If I get a little bit closer. If I move slowly, I should be able to see that pitting in there. This side's not quite as bad. The other side has got more pitting. I'll show you that in a second. You see them dings. There's that one ding that had me a little concerned. But we're going to re-manipulate that metal with some hammers and punches, and we'll push that metal back down into where it's supposed to be. We'll get it a lot closer before we ever hit it with a file. So, but if I move it slow, you can see a bit of pitting, dings, dents. This side is definitely more pitted. I'll show you. You might be able to see this quite well. Yeah, you can see if I move slowly, you can see all the pitting in there. So remember, that was all lots of little dark spots in the bluing. I told you to pay attention to that, sure enough. So like I said, this side definitely has more rust, more pitting. Enough symbols. Boy, I've got to be so careful on this. There's lots of dings and pitting right near where the symbols are. So got to be very careful. You can see how, we're careful with the bead blast, so none of the lettering or marks gets diminished in any way. There's a bad spot right there. That's a fairly deep pit right there. Deep series of pits. But can I get that out without creating a low spot? Because I can't just take this whole side down, because I would lose all those fine markings that are in there. Once again, you can see there's more pitting there just above the marking there. Damage around the screw hole. So all this has to be repaired without affecting the markings, which is that's difficult. You can see some pitting in there. So it's got its share, just like I thought it would have. More symbols, more symbols. So it's you see the pitting there quite readily. More marks and symbols. So anyway, it's I mean, we certainly fixed a lot worse than this thing, that's for sure. But there we go. You see a little bit of the rust in there now. But once again, you have to admit, before this was bead blasted, we didn't see that much pitting at all. Just some specks in the finish. Some patina. Oh, we love that word, patina. A little bit of rust right there behind that plate. You can see it right there, yeah. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's got lots of interesting lines and shapes, and so it's going to be fun to do. I'm eager to get this one done. Now that we've got this part done and we've got it videoed, now I can really get moving on this thing. So you can see all the pitting in there. But overall, I mean, it's in pretty good shape for what it is. We've seen a lot worse than this. So anyway, oh, and here's all the little parts. We bead blast them, and then we just throw them in this container just filled with WD-40. So that'll keep them nice, and they won't get rusty or anything until we're ready to get to them. We'll redo all the screw heads, like we usually do. We'll spin them all and clean them up. And I got that lanyard thing straightened up, so it didn't bust. I got it straight beautifully. It's perfect. So anyway, so we're going to get going on this baby, and I will keep you posted as we move along, and we'll see how she's going to look here shortly. Thanks.